welcome to the Versa Business Tips Podcast. I'm your host, founder and CEO of Versa Business Systems, Shaheen Mazloom. We're here with a high-performance coach today, Anmol Singh. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me. Looking forward to chatting with you.
Absolutely, man. So for those out there that don't know who you are, tell us a little about yourself and what your company does.
Yeah, totally. So I trade the stock market for a living, trader, investor, both long-term as well as short-term. And I coach a lot of traders and investors that are either in trading already or wanting to take the trading to the next level. So if you watch the TV show Billions, there's a girl there,
Yeah.
Wendy Rhodes. She's like the psychologist for hedge fund
Yeah.
guys. So that's a lot of work that I do with some of
Okay.
my bigger clients is more on the psychology elements for hedge fund managers. Yeah, I'm an author, wrote a book, Prepping for Success. So that's pretty much most of the stuff that I'm involved with these days.
Very cool. Very cool. So how did you get into trading stocks? I mean, obviously you're very good at it. You wrote a book. You coach people on how to do this successfully. How long you been in this industry, and tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, so in January it's going to be 15 years. It started in
Wow.
2010, so on my 15th year now, and I picked it up pretty early in my college days in my dorm room, just sitting there, a typical introvert, so like you're wanting to just be on your computer and figure something out.
Right.
So that's how I started in 2010.
Okay, very cool. So did you eventually work on Wall Street, or have you always done it for yourself?
I traded for a firm. It was like a prop firm. So, there are hundreds of traders there. I was one of the traders, and I would trade the company's money in exchange. They took a percentage of profit. So I did that for probably about 4 to 5 years before I went out on my own.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So with trading, I mean, so for me, it's like a gamble, right? I mean, I'm no stockbroker. I've never spent hours and hours, investing time researching a stock or a company or whatever to make a smart trade, right? So I've always made the trades that, if a whole bunch of people are talking about it, or there's some new exciting company coming out, yeah, I'll throw some money on it. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
Mm.
What are the biggest mistakes because now anybody can invest right from their phone,
Yeah.
right? Like, what are the biggest mistakes you're seeing from new investors, but also people that are just investing a little bit here and there and playing around in the stock market, which most people seem to do nowadays? What mistakes are you seeing people make?
I think pretty much what you just said, right? Like you buying stuff based on what other people tell you, or
Yeah.
you heard something somewhere, you read an article, or people are buying GameStop on Reddit. So then we just see whatever's moving hot, we buy in. But we're often finding those things after they've already gone up,
Right.
right? So that's when it
Oh,
comes on the
yeah, for
news.
sure. By the time everybody's talking about it, the winners have won.
Yeah, so on Wall Street we call it feed the ducks, right? When the ducks are quacking, feed the ducks. When everybody wants to buy in, that's where we're selling it to them. And then we take a
Right.
look at GameStop and all those stocks; they're all the way back down, 90%,
Yeah.
probably even lower than where they started. So I think those are the mistakes people make is gambling. Basically, they don't have a plan, they don't have a system, they haven't studied this at all, and they just think that they're going to come in and try to get rich quick. So I think getting
Right.
rich quick is the biggest problem, right? Because it doesn't exist. Because if you get rich quick, you can also lose it pretty quick.
Yes.
So that's one of the things that a lot of people make mistakes with is they end up gambling rather than actually studying it or having a reason why they're getting into the stock. I think it's a lot of it is complete speculation at this point. So that's probably one of the biggest mistakes people make is not having a plan. Just like
Right.
you wouldn't enter a business without a business plan, right? You wouldn't get into a trade or investment without an investment plan. So I think all of those things need to be thought out before you actually push the button and buy something.
Right, right. Now with technology the way it is nowadays, right? So I've seen these ads on Facebook and Instagram from coaches for, day traders. I'll teach
Mm.
you how to day trade, and we have this algorithm, and we're going to give you our winners, and everybody's going to make money, and we've got this group, and there's all these WhatsApp groups and Facebook groups and this, that, and the other. Like, look, we're going to give you 3 winners every week. You can't
Mm.
lose. You can't lose. Now, in my mind, I would think in this day and age, technology is at a point where you can forecast a decent amount to where technology can make an educated guess on what's going to do well and what's not based on what, market trends, what's going on in the world, things like that. But, tell me about these companies that are advertising that, hey man, like you can't lose, give me $1,000, take my course. Is there any truth behind that, or is it still, it's still an investment? You might win, you might lose. Like what's the benefit to those companies that are advertising like, hey, we're going to give you our winning picks.
Yeah, I think most of them are full of it, right? Because
Yeah.
there's no such thing as a sure thing. There's
Right.
not a single trader in the world who wins all the time. Not a single one. Take a look
Right.
at the best hedge fund guys or the best traders of our all time. Usually used to win 50% of the time, sometimes even less, 40% of the
50%.
time. Yeah.
Interesting.
The key is to when you win, the winners need to be bigger than your losers. So
Right.
what I do in my trading is sometimes I might only win 50, 60% of the time, right? So
Right.
I'll still lose 4 out of 10 trades or maybe 5 out of 10. But what I do is my winners are twice the size of my losers. So
Yeah.
let's do the math, right? So let's say if each winning trade is $1,000 and I win five in a row, right? So now I made $5,000. But if each losing trade, right? Let's say I lost five in a row losing trades, but each loser is only $500, then I lost $2,500. So overall net, I'm still positive by $2,500. So the key with trading is not just the win rate. Win rate means it's meaningless because you could have a
Right.
99% win rate, but what if that one loser is so massive that wipes away all the gains,
Well,
right?
100%. But I guess
Yeah.
my question on that is how how are you judging the smaller amount on a loser versus the larger amount on a winner? Because in
Mhm.
my mind, if you're going to do a smaller amount because you're not sure, why make the trade at all and just stick with the ones that are, that you're comfortable making the larger bet?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what we do. If the trade doesn't look like it has that potential, we pass on it. We only take
Right.
the best of the best. But even the best of the best, you could still lose. Nothing is
Yeah.
100% in the markets. Everything's 50-50. Or maybe you picked the best trade, but there was some news or something happened, or the whole market went down. Then your trade
Right.
could still not work. So the
Right.
key is to get the winners in your favor by having the ratio in your favor. So, example, when I get into a trade, let's say I buy a stock at $10 a share,
Right.
right? And I say, okay, if it goes down to $9 a share, I'm out, right? I'll take a dollar per share loss. I'll walk away with a
Okay.
quick loss. But then the winner, if I bought it at
No
10,
matter what, even
right? No matter
even
what,
if no matter what, you lost a dollar on 10%,
right?
you're out no
Mhm.
matter what.
Right, yeah. And then on the winning side, I'll say, okay, my target is $12. So now I'm trying to make $2 a share. So if I
Right.
can just keep doing that on every single trade, then I lose a dollar, I make it to lose a dollar. I only need to be right 40% of the time. Think about that.
Right.
If I just
Right.
do that,
Okay.
not
Yeah.
even picking the right stocks, if I just do
Right.
that, then I could have a win
Right. If
rate
you
of
just stick
40%.
to that rule, you're still winning. Yeah.
So I need to win 4 out of 10 times. But
Right.
advanced trader, if you're doing it for a while, you can mitigate some of that. You might get 60%, 70%. You might even get higher. Or sometimes the winner is bigger than 2 to 1. You're like,
Right.
what, this thing's gonna run. I'm just gonna keep bringing my exit point up. So I bought it at 10, it goes to 11. I might say, okay, I'm gonna go break even on it. So if it comes down to 10, I'm out for break even.
Uh
But if
huh.
it goes, I'll let it go. So that's kind of what traders like to do is we get it in our favor. But majority of the people selling courses and stuff online, I mean, most of them, like I've seen in the industry, I've been in this long enough that there's no such thing as a 90% win rate or
Right.
anything like that. And secondly, if somebody's just selling a course, but they're not willing to do it live in front of you, then there's something wrong, right?
Yes.
So like you got to be able to demonstrate it live. So every day that I've been trading, since I've been doing this coaching business too, like I live stream myself trading every single day with my account and everything open. So win or lose, people get to see it in real time. And I think
Right.
there's more to be learned from when I lose because then you see that I'm not going on tilt. I'm still calm. I'm complacent. I'm like, all right, yeah, it's part of the strategy.
Yeah,
And just
I've
like,
seen Wolf of Wall Street. Judge me by
yeah,
my losers because I have so few.
yeah, there you go. So yeah, I think that's the key. Is like if you're gonna pick a coach or a mentor, make sure they're able to do it live in front of
Yeah,
you.
somebody that's transparent. Yeah, for
Exactly.
sure, for sure. Because there's no reason not to be able to do it live, right? Like,
Right. Yeah.
if they're not willing to do that, there's a reason why they're not willing to do that. It's not about
Exactly.
privacy or none of that, right?
Yeah, it's all games. I mean,
Yeah,
there's nothing, no law stopping you from live streaming yourself. So do it.
yes,
So
yep,
that's kind of the thing. You got to be able to back up what you're teaching, because anybody can create a course. I mean, majority of them might just have AI generate a course these days, and
yeah,
be,
exactly,
be selling that. But
yeah.
you got to be able to demonstrate that.
Definitely, man. Definitely. So let me ask you this: what's the so you generally do day trading, right? So you're
I
you're
do both.
constantly buying, selling throughout the day, and you have some long term stuff too.
Yeah, so there's three different styles of trading that I do. So I call it one bucket is called income producing style. So
Okay.
that's where day trading is. Day trading is what we do to generate income, to live off, to pay our bills, right?
Right.
And we're doing that every single day. But then there's a thing known as swing trading, where I might buy a stock today, I might hold it for a couple of weeks and then sell it, right? And then there'll be long-term investments, which I call the wealth building bucket. That I'm not even looking at. So
Right.
percentage of what I make from trading short term, put it in my long term, and that just keeps going. I don't even look at that, and then I myself do these trades where I'm holding stocks for a few days, maybe a few weeks, and then day trades that I'm doing in in it for like 2 minutes.
Right.
So those quick ones too. But day trading is a sport,
Yeah.
so it's not for everybody. Not everybody's gonna make it. I'm just hate to break it to you.
Yeah.
Not everybody's gonna make it in that business. It's fast. It's super fast. There's everything happening every few minutes. But a style that I think anybody can get into is swing trading, where you might buy something today, sell it like a week later or 4 days later, because you're not active. So I think that's something that
Right.
everybody can do, even with a job or
Right. I
another
mean,
business.
day trading, you really have to be. You got to have it all in front of you at all time. I mean, you got to it's a full-time job, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not something you could just do part-time and
Right. Yeah. You got to
an
be
hour or
there.
two a day.
Yeah. You could do it for 2 3 hours a day, but not in the beginning until
Right.
you,
I mean,
you
well, and
you know.
you're not gonna be super successful doing it that way either.
Yeah, I mean, I day trade only from like 9 o'clock, right? 9:30 will market will open, right? 9 o'clock till 12 o'clock. So I'm
Okay.
done at 12, and then after 12, I'm just looking at my long term stuff, or I'm looking at maybe trades I can buy for 3 4 days or a week or
Right.
so. But the typical day trading part for me is like between 9:30, right, and typically 11:30. So by 12, I don't day trade after that,
Okay.
because for day traders we need market movements and volatility, which we get at the
Right.
open.
Which is
And as
happening
the
in the
day
morning.
lunch
Yeah.
break goes by, things start to slow down.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. So let me ask you this: what's the most you've ever made in a single day trading?
Well, all my day trades are very small, so like I'm not a home run hitter, right? I
Okay.
don't have any big gains because I get that question a lot. What's your
Yeah.
biggest gain or biggest loser? I'm super disciplined, right? So
Okay.
each winner typically is for me is going to be like roughly $2,000, right? Each loser for me is going to be maybe $1,000. So I'm maintaining the 2 to 1 ratio I talked about.
I gotcha.
All my gains are the same. I don't care if the stock went way higher than after I got out. I'm just doing singles and doubles, singles and doubles, singles and doubles, and I do that
Interesting.
maybe 3 times a day. So if I each winning trade is 2 grand, if I get three in a row, I get 6,000, and I'm done. I hit my goal, and I'll just come back the next day. I don't need to sit there all day. But the biggest trade recently, I think, was Tesla for me.
Okay.
That was more of a swing trade, which I
Right.
held for I think about 3 weeks or something, and that was like a $200,000 hit on one trade. But I held it
Over
for
a
like
3 week period.
yeah, when Tesla had that drop at like $110 and it bounced
Yeah.
straight to like 290. So
Yeah.
I bought like a couple thousand shares when it dropped there, and it went up to 290. It was a beautiful trade.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. And you decided to do that because like what explain to me I guess the research and how you feel confident that okay, Tesla price is tanking. It's a good time to buy. How do because in my eyes, everybody would see, like if you know that, then why does all the other guys not know that? Everybody's buying it when it's low,
Mhm.
right? I mean, how many people are able to win, and how do you figure out like that this is going to happen?
Yeah, so we use technical analysis. So we use the charts. So we take a look at the chart and we see, okay, what's an area that it bounces at. So we have trend lines. We see a stock is, uptrending like that. So we know that there's a uptrend line, right? So as it comes down to that area, that's an example of one of the trades that we might do. Or we might have a support level. Hey, this stock, for whatever reason, every time it comes down to 100, it just seems to bounce. So next time it comes down to 100, we're going to take a shot, right?
I
At
got you. And can
100.
you do you set like notifications like, hey,
Yeah.
notify me if this stock hits, this amount?
Yeah, if I'm not in my screen, I'll usually set alerts and then I'll walk away. But majority of the time, because I do this every day, I'm there sitting here in my
Right.
computer. So I
But
just
my
look at it.
thought process is if there's tens of thousands, there's so many stocks out there, right? Like
Right.
do you have like an alarm on, most of the major stocks to, hey, if it gets to this price point,
Mhm.
notify me. That way I can jump on.
Yeah. So I use my software platform. Get set alerts in it, so you get an email, you get an alert on the app, you get all
Right.
those things. So if you're not there, you can come take a look. But I try to stick to the major stocks, so I don't trade penny stocks or any of those random stocks.
Even
I
for day trading.
Yeah, even day trading, I trade like six stocks: the Tesla, Microsoft, Meta, the Nasdaq
Interesting.
ETF, spiders. I stick with like typically six stocks when it comes to day trading. Now
Okay.
and again, I find something that is on news and it just pops up really good.
Right.
I might trade it on an off day like that, but I would say 90% of my trades would be within those six stocks that I just gave: Nvidia, Microsoft, Meta,
Interesting.
Tesla, because I know I've traded them every day, so I know them so well now. And then
Right.
I know when they move that okay, this is the level it tends to bounce at.
Right.
So you get a feel of those
So
stocks.
you're
But
making a
that's
few thousand a day trading the big name stocks that everybody knows about,
right,
buying it at the right time during the day and selling it at the right time during the day. And that's it.
right, yeah,
Interesting. And
yeah.
so now your swings, That's more based on what news and what's
Charts
happening
though,
in the market. I mean,
still charts. So I
oh,
make
it's still based off of charts.
Yeah,
Okay.
I make all my decisions based on charts because news, fundamental reports, those are all other people's opinions, right? So they're just opinions. Like news, people say,
Right.
"Oh, this is a good stock." It's not a bad. Everybody was selling Tesla a few months ago,
Right.
right? Because it was going down. Now it's
Right.
going back up. They're like, "Oh, now we love the stock." I'm like, "But
Right.
you called it wrong before. Now you're calling it wrong again."
Yeah.
So opinions kind of confuse traders, right? Because everybody has a
Interesting.
different opinion. You can
Yes.
find a
Yeah. Yeah.
stock,
Yeah.
you can find one analyst that says I love it, one can say I hate it. So if I
Right.
listen to both, like I'm never going to make any decision.
Right. Right.
So that's
Right.
why the charts help us because charts are not anybody's opinion. That's what the price of the stock is right now, whether you like it or not.
Right.
So that
Right.
helps us make good decisions.
So the decisions are always going to be based off of the charts, whether it's a long term
Yeah.
trade, a swing, or a day trade.
Yeah, I might have my bias. So I might say, you know what, I love Tesla stock. I think it's going to go to 500. But then I'll still go back to the chart and make sense. Does
Right.
it make sense to buy it right
Right.
here?
Does it make sense? Is this an
Yeah,
educated decision?
right.
Right. So you're never making a trade based off of emotion, no matter what.
No, anytime I've done that in my career, I've learned the hard
You've
way not to
lost.
do it.
Yeah.
you
Yep.
know.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I totally get that. So, do you play around with crypto at all?
So I have investment in crypto. I don't trade it. I'm not in and out of crypto. I don't actively buy and sell. I have one cryptocurrency called Algorand, which I believe in. So I put majority of my money there,
Uh,
and we'll see what happens. But it's investing in crypto right now is kind of like investing in the early stages of internet. So
yeah.
it's very new. It's kind of
Yes.
like buying a penny stock really right now,
Yeah.
right? But it has the potential to be something big. But at the same time, I would say people should not have majority of their money in there because
No.
it could also
Because
it
it
could even
it could all
yeah.
it could also go nowhere.
Exactly. It could go nowhere. It could go to
Yeah.
zero, or it could boom and make a big run. So you can speculate with it. So if I have, let's say, whatever money I got, maybe 10% of that would go into crypto, right?
Right.
But then 90% I'll still stick with my stocks and what I do every day. But yeah, Algorand's a cryptocurrency that I'm invested in. That's the only cryptocurrency I hold. That's just based on all the stuff that I've looked into and researched.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I kind of feel the same way about you. Like it's just too unknown, right? Like there's always these news articles of, oh, this bank might use Ripple and bank might use this and the World Bank said this and this.
Yeah.
But it's nothing. It's still just it's just it's not even really being used. And
Mhm.
so, like, how do you hold a value to it? Now, once it is, it's game over, right? Like, I think everybody should have some crypto, do some research, find the ones that you like. And I think, if it does go off, great. But like you said, it's just too risky to put a big chunk of any of your investment,
Mhm.
gambling on crypto being something,
Right.
with real stronghold value like the stock market.
Yeah.
No matter where you come from, how old you are, how strong you are, whatever it is, everybody wants to have some level of success, right? But everybody's definition of success is different.
Mhm.
So explain to me a little bit more about your book, Prepping for Success. Like, who is that for? Is that for the wealthy successful? Is that the one who wants to have a big family? Or is it just a mindset thing to get them to their definition of success?
Yeah, so my definition of success has evolved and changed over time. When I didn't have any money, my only definition of success was making a lot of money. But then you make a
Right.
lot of money, but then you realize, well, it's not truly success if my health is a mess, right? So then
Right.
that becomes a priority, and then you're like, okay, I might have the health, but if my relationships are a mess, well, is that really success? Not really. So
Right.
the way I define success now is having harmony in all of those areas: health, wealth, love, happiness. But then more importantly, you personally being okay with where you're at in each of those areas. If you're happy with where you're at, that is true success, right? So you never compare your success with anybody else's success, or say, oh, this person's
Interesting.
success is my success. But if you're personally deep down happy with yourself in all areas, then great. That is true success. And also, success is never a destination. It's not going to be a place where you get there and you
Right.
say, I am successful now. Never. Like the goalpost will keep moving forward because there's levels to
Yeah.
this. So the
Yeah.
book is for anybody who wants to achieve their level of success, whatever they define success as. How do we achieve that now? How do we make that a reality? So anybody who wants to go to the next level. So originally, I wrote this for myself as notes to myself. Here's the things that I need to do in my life to achieve the success that I want. And then I actually went out and implemented it. And my life just drastically improved. That's when I turned it into a book. as 10 keys for
Wow.
making it in life. So they're universally applicable, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a trader, investor, or whether you have a job, right? It's just more of a mindset book to get you in the right habits on how to think, how to act, how to pursue your goals. And
Right.
it's a great book that's served a lot of people. I love seeing the reviews on Amazon and other places.
That's awesome, man. Well, how long ago did the book get released?
I released it in 2019.
Okay.
It's been out for a while, but I think recently I kind of did the audiobook version. I recorded that, which is an Audible. So all of that was kind of done this year. So there was a little, subtle tweaks that I've made it to the book. But the key cool part about book is like, I spent millions of dollars at this point hiring coaches, mentors,
Right.
seminars, retreats, and all the things that I went to. And I realized not everybody has that time or the money to go through all the things
Right.
that I went through. So I said, okay,
For
if I can
sure.
put everything in this 10 keys that were the commonalities that everybody agreed on that I learned from, that's what I put
Right.
in the book. And that's kind of how I started it.
That's awesome, man. That's great. Yeah, I mean, you're so right. When you get to a certain a certain level and you start to think about the amount of money that you spent on coaching and seminars and books and the time and the courses, it's insane what it adds up to. It really does.
Yeah,
Especially, I mean, you look like you're in your 30s. Am I
that's
right?
correct. Yeah, 32.
Yeah, same with me. I'm only 36, but the hundreds of
Mm,
thousands, if not millions of dollars spent on courses. And when it comes down to it, a lot of the courses from the big guys, right? They're all saying the same thing just in a different way,
right.
right? So success, like you mentioned something that I don't technically agree with. So for example, like being happy with where you are,
Hmm.
right? So I hope to never be happy with where I am.
Hmm.
Now, happy, content, okay. I'd like to be okay with where I'm at, right? But I feel like somebody that's shooting for real success, larger than life success, is never going to be completely happy or content with where they're at. Um, that's just my opinion. But I'd like to know more about like, can you dive in a little bit deeper on your book and the idea of how one achieves success, just like the key points to it?
Yeah. So to your point, there's a saying that I always use. I say proud but never satisfied.
I
So
love
be
that.
proud of the journey, be proud of what you accomplished, but never satisfied because there's always another level,
Love that.
right? But the
Yeah.
key is like, as long as you can comfortably, let's say when you're by yourself, it's the evening time, you're sitting by yourself, can you confidently say to yourself, you know what, I'm doing everything in my power to get to that level? If so, you're going to be happy
Right.
because you did your best
Yeah.
and the result may
Right.
fall where it may fall. So it's not like you're just always happy, but it's like, I'm not always happy, but am I, at the end of the day, only thing I judge myself based on is, at the end of the day, can I
Right.
look myself in the mirror
Can I look
and
myself in the
say,
mirror? Right.
did I do my best? Did I work out today? Right? Because if you don't, you're not going to be happy at all. Right? But if you
Yeah.
did that, sure, you might not be the version of happy, but you're going to be pretty
Right.
content with how your day
You're
went.
gonna be okay. You're gonna be
Yeah. And
fine.
as long as you're
Yeah.
okay with where you're at in
Yeah.
each of those areas, that would be true success. So one of the success keys that I give in the book is called integrity. Right? So be a person of your word. Right? Do what you
Yes.
said you're going to do, and then do it when you said you're going to do it. Just think about how much your life would be better if you did every single thing you said you're going to do, and you did it when you said you're going to do it. Right?
So true. I am a firm believer. I cannot stand people that say they're gonna do
Yeah.
something and don't do it.
Mm.
Like, it is one of my biggest pet peeves in the world.
Yeah. And doing it even if you don't feel like it, because you said you're going
Right.
to do it. So then you kind of be a person
We
of
don't
your
feel
word.
like doing a lot of things. You think everybody in the gym at 6 a.m. feels like being
Yeah.
there? No, they don't want to be there. They'd much rather be in bed.
Right. Exactly. So I think that's one of the biggest keys, because without that, nothing else in the book
Yeah.
is ever going to work for you. Because if you just don't do
Yeah.
what you said you're going to do, nothing's going to work. Like, how many people, you probably know people like this too, that 2018, 2019, they used to say, I would love to start my own business. I just don't have the time. Right. And then
Yep.
2020, everybody had all the time in the world. They still didn't do it.
Exactly. And they still didn't do it.
So,
Yep.
so they're full of it. And what happens is we negotiate with ourselves. I'll do
Oh,
it
all the
tomorrow.
time. We give
Yeah.
ourselves excuses as to why we haven't done
Right.
something. Yeah, no, the thing is, if you don't want to do it, that's when you know you should be doing it.
100%, because that's when you stretch.
Everything on my to-do list, I try to focus on the things that I don't want to do the most
Mhm.
first, because I know those are the most important things.
Yeah.
Like when you really look at your calendar and you look at the things that you need to do, that you need to do, the most important ones are usually the ones that you don't want to do.
Absolutely. I mean, what you just said is exactly what I do. So I have, another journal that I have. It's called the Success Journal. So I
Mhm.
created this based on because I used to have a journaling practice that I used to journal, but I know that not
Okay.
everybody journals because it's like you buy a book. You're like, okay, where do I start? Do I write like Dear Diary? Like, no, we're not going to do that, right? So for
Right.
me, at the end of the day, in the evening, I just write down what are the 6 things that I need to do tomorrow when I wake up, and that is it. So until I do those 6 things, a phone call comes in, I'm not taking it. Email comes in, I'm not responding to it. Anybody says, "Hey, can we have coffee?" No, until I achieve those 6 things. So if it takes me 9 p.m. to achieve those 6 things, so be it. If I finish early and
Right.
I do all those 6 things at 12 p.m., okay, now I can do whatever I want in my life, go out with friends or
Right.
whatever. But so I call it the critical six. So critical
I
six
love
things,
that.
but you want to write them down the night before. So not when you
Yeah.
wake up, you're like, "What should I do today?" No, you wake up and you're like,
Right.
"Boom."
Oh yeah, you gotta prepare, man. It's just like think about basketball, right? Before they start the game, what are they doing? They're on the court.
Mhm.
They're stretching. They're shooting three throws. They're
Yeah,
right. Like you've got to prep before the game, right? They had practice the night before. They're playing before the game starts, right? Like it's the same thing in life. If you don't prep the night, like people ask me like on a Sunday night, what are you doing tonight?
Mhm.
Prepping for the week. What do you mean? What am I doing? It's Sunday night,
Right.
and it's wild to me that Sunday night is a big night for people to go out,
Mhm.
to the nightclub or out to dinner or whatever, watch night football, and it's always blown my mind. I mean, don't get me wrong. When I was 21, 22, like sure, yeah, I liked going out on a Sunday
Yeah.
night, but preparation is everything, and knowing what you need to accomplish the very next morning. If you're trying to figure it out once you've got up in the morning, you're way too late.
Mhm.
You're way too late. You're way too late. Yeah, it's there's some things that I do first thing in the morning, which is writing down 5 things that I'm grateful for and 5 things that I want to accomplish, whether it's today, the week, the month, the year. But the night before, I go through my calendar and I make sure all my notifications are set, all my alarms. I got I know everything that I need to do the night before
Yeah.
because, dude, it's so important and it gets your head ready. Like whatever you're thinking about the night before, there was a doctor that was explaining this to me as far as mindset. Whatever you're thinking about before you go to sleep is so critical
Mhm.
because it's what you're going to think about when you're dreaming, when you're sleeping, and it really the work starts working the night before.
Right. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, we should definitely. I'm very interested in learning more about stocks too, but I'm gonna grab your book and hopefully we can jump on and chat further on down the line.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah,
Awesome,
definitely.
brother.
Shoot me your address. I'll send you a copy.
Awesome, bro. We'll do. All
All right. Take care,
right,
everyone.
have a good night, brother.
You too. Have a great one.
Thanks.